Welcome to Tech Talk, y'all.
Hey, and welcome to Tech Talk, y'all. Season 8, episode 188. I'm Sanjay Parekh.
And I'm Adam Walker. I feel like we should have like 8 stories.
I know.
And like that we should play on 8s is really what we should be doing right now.
Crazy 8s. We should play Crazy 8s
Ooh, I love Crazy 8s.
That's a great game, isn't it? I haven't played Crazy 8s in a long time.
It's especially a great game for kids, right? Because kids love wild cards because they are wild cards. And so it works out. Yeah.
I think there's some kind of like weird subtext there about your kids and being wild cards or something.
There's some weird subtext there for sure, but we're going to keep on going here. So listen, in today's episode, we have a lot of good stuff for you. But before we start, and before I forget, I do want to mention, Sanjay and I have a new venture, Together Letters. It keeps groups of people connected only via email, not even a login required. If you want to stay connected to a group, any group 10 or less is free, togetherletters.com. Check it out. You'd be doing us a great favor by checking it out. We'd really appreciate it. So with that said, in this episode, we're going to talk about Netflix, Amazon, Snapchat, Facebook, one man's fight against something we'll talk about later. A really fascinating survey that I'm personally can really agree with and get behind. Tesla, of course, we got Weird and Wacky and Tech Recs at the end. So if we're ready, Sanjay, what is up for us first?
Yeah, let's start with Netflix talking about their want to really get into video games.
Yeah,
totally makes sense. And it's funny. So, it's funny reading these articles now. I think a lot of these people that write these articles don't really know or remember the history of Netflix throughout the time that it's been around and some of the competitors too, because I actually remember the history because I've been a customer since almost the very beginning.
Oh yeah, me too.
I've been a shareholder since the very beginning. I bought.
Oh yeah, not me. I wish.
But like a lot of these articles don't talk about the fact that back in the early days, Netflix had adult titles, and they made a lot of revenue on that. And only when they were approaching IPO, they were like, "Oh, we need to clean up our act." They got rid of all of that stuff. But the other part of it that's relevant to this story was back in those days, there used to be competitors. I forgot the name of it. It was like Gamefly or something like that. That was basically Netflix for video games.
It was, yeah.
And I mean, they ended up disappearing as well because as these consoles have moved now more towards, online sales and streaming titles, that's not relevant. But this is, I think, a different thing, right? This is Netflix actually being essentially a game studio and then selling access to games through their platform.
Well, I mean, this is a similar play to Google Stadia, which of course our friend Mickey is a big fan of. It's a similar play. I mean, Apple has their own kind of gaming platform. And to me, I think there's about to be a lot more competition in the gaming sector. Yeah. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Microsoft responds to that and how Sony responds to that. Because they've been the dominant force in that area for 15, 20 years? Yeah. I mean, I think they're about to get a serious challenge from some of these smaller, quote unquote, startups, if you will.
And what's interesting, when Netflix went public, one of their things that they said in their filing that was a competitor to them was sleep. So the time that you sleep is the time that you're not watching Netflix, right? So if you have that kind of worldview about your consumers, then getting into gaming is a natural fit, right? Because gaming is a competitor to watching movies.
And it's a competitor to sleep for sure, which we're going to talk about during Weird and Wacky. So that's awesome. Yes.
So if you can take more share of that time, then you're going to have more users. So this is a natural fit in terms of what their kind of thought process is in terms of their relationship with their users.
Well, and I'll tell you, speaking of this, then we'll move on to the next article. But one of the other major competitors that Netflix considers for the longest time, and this was before all the kind of streaming wars, but they really consider Fortnite to be a major competitor because, Fortnite draws a ton of online virtual time, and that's the time that Netflix wants to grab. It's that screen time. So listen, speaking of grabbing screen time, Amazon is buying MGM Studios for $8.45 billion. So now they're gonna own James Bond, that James Bond franchise,
James Bond, and a bunch of other stuff. And honestly, I think you're an Amazon Prime user just like we are.
I'm all for it.
This is good.
Listen, I mean,
I have no
Amazon they just keep getting bigger, and they're going to fight this whole monopoly thing. And like on the one hand, like, oh, we're not a monopoly. On the other, it's like, oh, but look at all this cool stuff that we just bought. So,
look at all of the things that we have. And it's interesting.
Whatever.
I saw an article that was talking about this, and they were saying, like, on first blush, like, there is no anti-monopoly issues here. Like, there's no monopoly issues here because Amazon, there's a bunch of movie studios.
There's a bunch of studios. Yeah, that's true.
And Amazon doesn't have a lock on that.
No.
But obviously, I think a lot of people are getting concerned about this. But honestly,
I'm a fan.
You've got Netflix.
Yeah.
You've got HBO Max. I think HBO Max does a great job.
Well, and the new wrap up with Discovery and all that too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you saw it, by the way. The Friends reunion just came out on HBO Max. I've not watched it yet.
I mean, I've seen all the promos and I want to watch it so bad, but I don't have HBO Max, and I don't have HBO Max. I don't think that's going to push me into it. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah,
so
I thought it was actually going to be an actual episode, like an update, but it's not. It's just them sitting around talking about stuff. So I don't know. I watched a little bit of the beginning of it, but it's not really that enticing to me.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
Talking about something that might be enticing to you, Snapchat is betting big on augmented reality and the e-commerce future with it.
I think this is super smart.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Have you seen the screenshots and stuff?
I haven't seen the screenshots yet. I'm going to pop this open.
One thing that Snap does, I would say better than any other platform and has since the beginning, is augmented reality that will superimpose things over you. So like, for example, you pull up a filter and it puts sunglasses on your face and adds a beard when you don't have a beard. And, it gives you long hair that's rainbow colored and whatever else. And now they realize like, hey, we can sell stuff with this. And so you can try on like a jacket in augmented and see how it's going to look on you, or try, like there was a screenshot of somebody like trying on a purse and seeing how it's going to fit them. And like, I mean, I can see this really working from an e-commerce perspective and really helping to push people over the edge if they're not sure if they want to buy something yet. It's pretty smart, I think.
Yeah. There's some folks that have done things like this before. I remember, I don't know if we talked about it, but there was a story about Levi's where you could get body scanned and then you could virtually see jeans tried on on your avatar, I guess, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
similar,
what this is, but it's skipping the whole body scan portion.
And that's the important part. Yeah. That's the important part. Yeah. And we've seen like IKEA where you can like see IKEA furniture in your space. And like, that's really cool. But this is seeing it on your person. And that's just next level. I think it's really, really smart.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's great. I love seeing them push the envelope.
You're a big Snapchat user, right?
No. I need to get back into it a little bit. I kind of dropped off of it for a long time, but it's probably time to dive back in. I think.
I don't even have an account, so I'm definitely not.
There's still
Snapchat
time.
User.
There's still time.
Are they still free? Can you still get them?
You can still get an account. Yeah, they still want you, man. They still want your data. So, cool. All right. Well, speaking of who wants your data, Facebook and Instagram will now allow users to hide their like counts on posts. And then we also link to another article, how to hide your likes on your Instagram posts. So this is interesting because for a long time, Instagram sort of became this place of who has the most likes, which posts have the most likes. And there's even this trend, I don't know if you're aware of this, Sanjay, but there's a lot of like influencers that will post on Instagram, and if it doesn't have a certain amount of likes within the first, say, hour, they'll delete it, and then they'll repost it later and see if they can get more likes then, and they play this sort of game with it. Yeah. So honestly, it's not healthy. Like it's not. I mean, we talked about that whole there. I don't know if we talked about it or if it was on Wait, Don't Tell Me, but there was this whole article about a 30-year-old woman that went to a high school dressed as a high schooler, carrying a backpack and a skateboard because that's what kids carry, obviously, and was literally, I'm not kidding, she was passing out flyers promoting her Instagram account to get more followers on Instagram. And that was her way of doing it. So like, it's not a healthy culture. I think it's great that they're allowing these things to be hidden. Whether or not people use it, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem I think with this feature is that it's opt-in. And then there's going to be a stigma if you have opted into it. It's like, oh, it's because your photos don't have any. You don't have any likes. Yeah. And that's why you did that, right? Yeah. Whereas instead, what it should be is they should just
turn it off,
enable it to everybody, right? Yeah. And like not have. But I think one of the articles was talking about a lot of these people have built up brands and businesses around the fact that they get these likes. And so that would kill those people. It would not kill them literally, but it would kill their businesses.
Right.
And their source of revenue. So it's a delicate thing. And I see this, I've got kids too, and talk about how they have friends and then they'll post and then tell everybody that they know in other channels to go like the photos that they just posted. And it's like, I think we've lost sight of why, right? Like
we're just trying to be social here. We're not trying to get claps and pats on the backs and all.
I don't need another job of having, I've even been told by the kids, no, you need to like all the, I'm like, no, I don't have that kind of time.
Ain't got that kind of time.
Even if first of all, I don't even look at Instagram that often, but even when I do, I'm not just going to sit there and hit like on everything. I'm actually going to sit and understand what's going on and either appreciate it or not appreciate it.
Yeah.
Regardless of the likes.
Yep.